Morning, it's 9:53 a.m. It is December 7th, and it is, I believe, the calendar. I'm not looking at a calendar right now, but I believe this is D-Day. But anyway, um, so I'm sitting here in my room, and I'm just getting ready to start my day. I got some errands I need to run today. And so I just wanted to come on here and make this video. And this video is just basically about stalking in general. I know in my last videos, I've been covering, I did some PowerPoint presentations on domestic violence, which was actually acknowledged in October. I believe they have domestic a month designated for the awareness of that issue. And then in January is National Stalking Awareness Month, which is basically covering stalking of all forms. The issue relating to domestic violence, which does cover domestic stalking and other forms of abuse, is acknowledged. These are not months that are calls for celebration by any means, but they are established to make people aware of these issues, because many people don't. Like in my situation, like they probably knew that I had my ex-spouse who was causing, in this particular entourage or whatever, that was causing me issues, but they just thought, well, this particular person is causing her issues. But they don't realize that this is an issue that relates to the law. This is an issue that relates to the violation and abuse of another person. So they don't really see it that way. And that's one of the issues that I had with the Department of Human Trafficking in this community, because they don't recognize these issues. They just think, okay, well, there's this lady, blah, 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 and they don't realize that this falls under the definition of what they're supposed to do. Okay, so I've run into these issues like multiple times, okay, because people don't understand things, and they don't understand what do you call it, what things are, how they're defined, basically. So anyway, I was thinking, this video, I was just thinking about stalking in general, and I have been thinking a lot about how this is not just an issue that's affecting people in the workplace. It's affecting kids in school, because of the issue that we have with the internet. We have the ability to send numerous emails, text messages, with our phones, and be on social media, spread gossip, and these sort of things are very easy to do with this form of technology. And there's a lot of kids in school who are talked about being bullied. There's actually been a few suicides that have occurred because of kids being bullied. And what has happened in some of these cases is where these kids are going to a school in a particular district, maybe even a different state, and they go and they move, or they might get relocated to another district, or they might move out of state, and they're finding the same bullying issues at the next school, because now we have this ability to track people, to create cyber stalking, and so and very much like the issue of gang stalking, which that's exactly what it is. Okay, it is gang stalking. Children are being gang stalked. Okay, this is an issue that affects everyone. And there's a lot of women or men in general who are just starting their lives, and there might be targets of people's competitive spirit, and they might be perhaps going to college. Their parents might be shelling out a lot of money for their college. They might be making plans, putting plans in place for their future, and there's already somebody who's put something in place to prevent that from happening through gang stalking. Okay, this is a huge, huge problem. So my thing is that I think people should be talking more about how they should protect their families, how they should protect their privacy, how they need to start thinking about the how quick and easy it is for someone to basically destroy your life just like that, and in the most insidious way. Okay, so I really do think that the issues relating to stalking, not just gang stalking, domestic stalking, every form of stalking that you can possibly imagine under the sun, should start being talked about in families as well as in communities. I think there should be more education about it, because there's a lot of ignorance and people just not really putting two and two together. So anyway, This issue is on my mind all the time because, when you have been stalked, okay, it already causes tremendous, tremendous anxiety, okay? Because you feel like your stalkers know that you're not comfortable with their presence. They know that you don't appreciate them traumatizing you over and over and over again. And so when you're dealing with people who are very grabby, persistent, you know, you feel naturally that your life is being threatened, so you don't feel comfortable. You're never going to feel comfortable, and you're always going to be edgy. Okay, it is a very serious issue, and it's not something that people should take lightly. And so the purpose of my videos was to educate people. Also, really, it was also a way of me to vent. But I know initially it started off with me contacting my employers, sending them a copy of my videos and letting them know that something's going wrong and this is not quite right. I didn't know exactly what it is, but my videos have helped me put a lot of things together and figure out exactly what happened to me. And so, but a lot of it, when I started figuring out, I started talking more and more about the issues of stalking, domestic stalking, and domestic stalking can take place in many forms. It could be an ex-spouse, it could be the in-laws, your ex-in-laws, it could be your blood relations, it could be your own mother, it could be your siblings, and I guess I was naive like when I was younger to a certain degree, okay, because you know I didn't realize that people were this competitive. I never realized that. I thought the word competition, basically came through you designing, making sure that your resume is in order, making sure you don't have any spelling errors, making sure that you put things in chronological order, having a decent intro in your cover letter. I thought that you just wanted to make sure that you stood out to the employer. Okay. I knew that there were certain things called blacklisting, but I thought that was mostly something that pertained to Hollywood movie stars or political leaders. I did know it happened in employment, but I thought those cases were very rare. They are actually not that rare, as there are millions of targeted individuals, okay? And even here in the United States, which I find shocking. And the main reason why is because what we've discovered through my videos is that there's a lot of people who aren't aware of these laws that should be in place, that are, like in my case, like when they were discriminating against me because they wanted to convert me to a religion, which we already know that this is a cult. And the reason why it is a cult is because we have people from different denominations. It's not clearly defined as to what denomination or what religion I'm supposed to associate with. It's just used as an argument to try to be in a competition that I have no interest in being in, okay? And so some people think in their mind, because they think of cult, they think of, oh, well, this is Charles Manson, this is that, Heaven's Gate cult. It doesn't look like anything like that. It doesn't look like Jim Jones. It doesn't look like these people that I know in the back of my mind as identify as a cult. Why is it a cult? It's because it is not a proper established religion. When we have people who are Catholic, people who are Mormon, people who are Presbyterians, people who are different denominations coming together to try to force you into a religious system. What religious system? Okay, because we know that this was used as an excuse to basically hide other issues like racism. So whatever. So this was, it's like people not really thinking through this issue and realizing, okay, does this make sense? Does it make sense that a person, for example, there's a lot of targeted individuals who have like their master's degree, okay? And they are more than qualified to do their job, supposedly. But we already know that just because, you have a master's degree doesn't necessarily mean that you know what the fuck you're doing. Okay, we obviously know that. Okay, but still, okay, according to paper, whatever, I guess so. All right. So, and there's really no reason why they should be not being able to have a job. But there's people who are targeted individuals who are in this program. And it's usually for reasons relating to, well, somebody's jealous, okay? And so, And so, like I said before, I think it's really sad that people are so cutthroat over office jobs, you know, because, like I never, I just can't, I think that's ridiculous. Okay. But what bothered and disturbed me even more was the fact that, I was trying to get just any job I could get. And like, I mean, I was even willing to work retail. Okay. And so, you had these people who just wanted to mess with you. And so when you're dealing with somebody who is that aggressive, you are going to feel a tremendous amount of fear because these people show no respect for your life. Okay. So anyway, I'm getting a little bit off the subject. So my thing is about talking about stalking is, just bringing awareness to it. Okay. Yes, I do believe that people who work in human resources should know about domestic stalking. They should know about human trafficking. They should know about, these sort of forms of abuses. Okay, a lot of these laws are stated on in every workplace. Okay, like in the, like it's required that they're supposed to be displayed. Okay, so like when this ridiculous thing was going around about, well, Maria can't get a job because she doesn't belong to this particular religion, or anything that was brought up about religion, that should have been, they should have looked this up, and it's right there on the wall. Some of these are just right obvious. Okay, even if we weren't using the words domestic stalking, even if we didn't even use those words, okay, they still fall under these categories. Okay, you're not supposed to discriminate people based on their marital status. You're not supposed to be, using religion. We're not supposed to be using race as a criteria in the hiring process. Okay, but it can go deeper than that. Okay, so when we think about things like, a family member, using this as an excuse to manipulate someone's employment, this information is still basic enough to be placed on the wall, and people should have known that. Okay, so so like I said, this issue did open my eyes a lot, as to what people understand, their ability to be open to mind control, not think for themselves. Also, there's an evil element to this. Okay, there's a lot of sadistic people out there who want to harm a person just to work out their aggression. Now, I know that, I do realize that, now that, people do this sort of stuff in the employment sector. It's not, you can't just have a nice looking resume. You can't just have things in chronological order. There are some cutthroat people out there who compete in a different way. Okay, which is illegal. It is illegal to participate in this way. And it's not just fun and games. It is an actual issue of putting someone's life in danger. It is life endangerment. This is one of the reasons why it is a felony in every state in this country. Okay. Now, I know when I've made attempts to leave this town, I'm living here in this town. I'm not going anywhere. I don't have any plans of leaving the community. And obviously, because it's an issue of economics, I don't have the money to do that. Okay, but I can live anywhere. I'm fine anywhere. Okay, but in the beginning, when I knew that there was some weird stuff that I didn't quite understand what was going on, I made attempts to leave this community. Okay, but this is the evil mindset of these people. They don't want you to find a job here, and they don't want you to find a job anywhere. Okay, because I know that this issue followed me in different areas. This is the issue of blacklisting. Okay, and that's deep down envy. Okay, now I think that, when it comes to, sometimes people have things that you want. Okay, like I know sometimes, you might see somebody that you used to know, and they might be, far more advanced in life than you are. Okay, like I know there's people I probably went to school with who are far more advanced. They probably own their own home. They might have 2 houses. They might have like vacation spots. They might go traveling all the time. They might do all those things. And you know what? And in the back of my mind, I might be thinking, oh man, gee, I wish I had that. And I'll shrug my shoulders and I'll go on and do the dishes and go about my life. Okay. But there are some people where they'll sit there and they'll think about what that person has. They'll toss and turn. They will, at night, they can't sleep. They got to figure out how in the world they can destroy this person's life. Okay? And then they'll start enacting hate crimes. And that's exactly what happened with me. It's a hate crime. Okay? Is basically what it is. And I have encountered people who literally thought that they actually thought that their being jealous was an actual excuse for their barbaric behavior. And that's what they used to justify their actions. Like it was nothing to them. Okay? When people, like, for example, you might, like, what about crimes of passion, for example? Like a man might be with a woman and he feels jealous when she's with somebody else. Like, maybe she got divorced and she might be dating someone else, okay? And before you starting any rumors, this is just an example, okay? But anyway, he feels jealous. So he goes and he kills both of the woman and the guy, right? This is an example, okay? And in his mind, he thinks, well, I was jealous. Okay, but tell that to the court system when they haul your ass off to jail. That's not going to be a good enough excuse for what you did. Okay, and the same thing with gang stalking or any sort of other weird impulse that a person has, feeling like they want to retaliate when there's no reason to retaliate. This person didn't do anything to you. They have every right to have a decent job. They have every right to go on with their life. They have every right to have vacation spots. They have every right to own a nice car if that's what they have. You know what I mean? They have every right to. So what you're doing is you are behaving in a barbaric manner and you are breaking the law in order to harm this person. Okay? That's, to me, is like raw ignorance. It's like you really think that this is okay to do these sort of things. All because you're jealous or you want to create competition. That's a sick competition. And yes, I mean, I honestly, I don't know much about technology other than what I use for the functions that I need to do, like for when you work or whatever. And that's plenty for me. I do go on the internet, I do whatever. I do look and use the internet. Okay. And of course I have certain devices, like I have a Kindle, I have like a phone. People have more than that. Okay. And I'm aware of that, but there's nothing in me that makes me feel like envious towards that. I don't feel like, but I'm trying to think what kind of stuff do I like? Like, let's just say, for example, somebody has the ability to go on a vacation every 3 months. Okay, I would love to get the hell out of this town for a little bit. Okay, I would love to get out and do something different. I want to get out so bad it's not even funny. Okay, but I haven't been able to go out and travel for a very, very, very long time. Okay. And I've heard, and now I go on Facebook and I see somebody that I used to know, and they're going to all these different places. Now, that's one thing that I would feel like, man, I really want to do that. Like I said, I would be like, man, that sucks. I wish I could do that. And I might feel a little down about it for a little bit, but that's it. It doesn't go any further than that. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and try to make this person lose their job. I'm not going to sit here and try to spread rumors about this person so I can prevent him from traveling. I'm not going to do that sort of stuff because I know better. Okay? And some of these people do these sort of things and they don't know better. And when they do know better, then you're dealing with something evil. Is basically what you know. Is what you have to come to the conclusion of, So, anyway, yeah, I guess I'm thinking about a lot of the kids that are going to school now. I don't know. They're young. Some people are getting ready to leave school. Some people are trying to start their futures. And there are some people who already have systems in place that's going to prevent them from moving on. Because of this bullying issue. It is not a simple issue. It is not an issue that people should just ignore and shrug their shoulders at. It's a serious issue. Okay? I mean, when you realize if you hear somebody like bullying your kid in school or whatever, you need to ask yourself this question. Is this just going to be centralized here? Is this an issue that we can clear up? Because I'm serious. These people have taken things way too far. And don't put it past them that they won't. It's very serious. that somebody would do something like that. And when you hear of people doing things like that, it's important to know that what they're doing is illegal. What they're doing is life-threatening. What they're doing is something that is punishable, okay, by being in prison. And then also I just recently read something about being fined $250,000. It's a huge issue. Okay, it is a federal crime, and it's a big deal. Okay, gang stalking is not something to be taken lightly. Human trafficking is not something to be taken lightly. Domestic violence, stalking, and yes, it is domestic stalking. Even if it's your own mom, if your mom is doing certain things that are going to harm you, especially when it prevents you from going to work, if it's preventing you from your free rights, if it's basically putting you in a, say, state of subordination when you're not supposed to be. Now, obviously, for example, we have rules of hierarchy at workplaces, okay? We have those things, okay? But when you're basically saying, well, you know what, she has to be this religion, and she can't eat apples at her desk, and she blah, blah, this sort of thing, these sort of dehumanizing things that are putting you apart from everyone else. Everyone else is exercising their free right, whether they want to eat apples at their desk or not, but they could do whatever they want. And this particular person is limited in some way. This person's being human trafficked. This is a sign of human trafficking. Okay, there should not be any exception for one particular person. And if there is, we're dealing with a discrimination issue. It doesn't matter if your own mother put this system in place. We need to look at this as domestic stalking, because that's what it is. So anyway, those are some of the things that have been going on through my mind. But you never when you've dealt with stalking, you never feel safe. And I think a lot of that's one of the issues with stalking victims. They never feel safe anymore, because their mind, they feel emotionally shattered that somebody knew that it was wrong. They knew it was wrong. Okay, and they continue to do it. Let me tell you what that makes you feel like. It makes you feel like somebody is coming at you, and you're like, don't shoot me, and they're going to fucking shoot you anyway. That's exactly how it feels. Like your life is constantly being threatened, especially when you've made it quite clear that these people are not the kind of people you want to deal with. Okay, because basically how I see these people under the guidelines of the law, how they would be defined, I would tell you that really disturbs me. I'm disturbed by that. So anyway, yeah, I think it's an issue that people need to think a little bit more clearer about. Like, they need to talk about it more. Kids need to be educated about bullying, and they need to be educated about gang stalking. That it's not okay to sit here and play jokes on a person over here and start doing things over there and telling this person over here and this sort of stuff, and creating what could end up being a worldwide form of bullying. Because you're exposing them to people on Facebook, you're exposing people to other locations. This is what the biggest issue that makes it fall under this category as federal stalking, which makes it like gang stalking, or falls under this criminal thing, especially when it goes over state lines in different places. That's when it becomes a big issue. Okay, and I know that it has. So those things need to be talked about, and I think they should be talked about quickly. Not like, it's not a good idea to constantly fill your kid's head with these ideas that everything's safe, strangers, people are kind out there. No, they're not. Okay, there's a lot of discontent people who aren't just happy, with their own little lives. They want to sit here and ruin people's lives. And as a matter of fact, it's a form of entertainment, and that's a sick thing. Okay, but there's a lot of sickness out there, and I'm saying is that people should be educated on these topics. They should have these discussions in school. Parents should be talking to their kids. They should have these discussions in the workplace. They should have these discussions in churches, wherever people gather, which I know people aren't really gathering in churches or anywhere right now because of the stupid COVID-19 thing. But it's something that should be talked about in the community, in every community, because This is what's going on. And people call it the silent Holocaust. There's people who don't even know what's happened to them. They might have somebody in their neighborhood who doesn't really know them that well. They've never been formally introduced, but they see that this person has a nice car. They see that this person has a nice home. They see this person, the kids are always dressed nicely. And these people might be sitting back extremely envious of this person. And they might be going around putting these little things in place. And next thing you know, this person's life's falling apart. They lose their job. They can't find another one. They're going through all this sort of stuff. And I've seen examples of targeted individual stories who posted on blogs, who participated in group chats and blah, 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 blah. Similar things have happened. Some of these people don't know who their perps are. Okay. The good thing about my situation is I know who my perps are. Okay. But there are some people who are just unaware. They might have a neighbor, could be their next door neighbor. Okay. Oftentimes these things do get started by family members or somebody who might be looked upon as somebody who might possibly have, authority, even though nobody has authority over somebody who's over the age of 18 in this country. But still, you know what I'm talking about. Somebody that they might be associated with, like, for example, work. Your job has no right to tell you can't do this in Arizona, Texas, Detroit, Michigan, wherever, or anywhere else. After you leave that place of employment, they don't have the right to sit here and obstruct you. And if they do, they're blacklisting you. Okay? But this is the sort of stuff that goes on, and this is the sort of stuff that needs to be talked about. People need to understand you only have so much limited power as a person who is an employer. You can verify someone's reference, you can do this sort of stuff, but you don't have the right to tell a person what they're supposed to do. And you sure as hell don't try to force people to stay married. Okay, these issues of forced marriages and stuff like that, this is an issue of human trafficking as well. Okay, so anyway, I think I covered a lot of my stuff in my informational videos, but I'm just kind of like letting off some steam about these issues because they really bother me. They bother me because so much of this stuff is going on and it's destroying so many people's lives. I can't tell you how many like blogs and comment sections I've seen about people who are going through this and their lives are completely messed up. And they're frustrated. They don't know who to turn to, and it's very sad. Very, very sad. That people aren't aware of this sort of thing. And it's something that can affect anybody. And don't think that you can escape this. Like I said, this could happen to anybody. Anybody. It could be, people could be plotting and planning, your kid's failure, that knowing good and well that you're sending your kid to law school or something crazy like that. And they could be sitting there at your dinner table and they might be smiling in your face, saying, oh, what a good thing you're sending your kid to law school, blah, 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 and acting like they're supportive. And then they could be going home, sending off a bunch of emails, making sure that shit never happens. Because they know that your kid has potential. And they don't want to see your kid get ahead. Because their kid probably isn't going to be doing as well. Okay? This is serious stuff. Serious stuff. And the amount of injustice that you have to deal with in this program, I will tell you, is absolutely ridiculous. Like they're greedy. They are hateful towards you. Your perps are hateful towards you. Like I feel as though I've already sacrificed my plans in my life because of their outside intrusion. Like, I had initially wanted to go back to school and become a certified public accountant. I really don't even dream of that anymore. I don't. And it's not because I feel like I could not have done it. It's just I've never been able to work in an environment where I was always feeling, what's the word for it? I always felt like my life was being threatened 24 hours a day, all the time at my workplace. So I'm never in a situation where I feel like I'm in a positive place where I feel motivated. Or even if it's possible, because, I was enrolled back in school in 2013 or 14, I think it was. And then they make you lose your jobs and shit. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that a lot of other women are talking about, and that's one of the biggest issues with the issues relating to forced marriages and human trafficking, because there's a lot of women who want to get their lives together and they're not able to. Their so-called families will, create financial problems for them. They can't do that. They can't do that. Okay, so then they ruin those chances for me. And then they want me to work jobs that are just, not that I felt at the time were not very rewarding. And then they wanted to make a bunch of sacrifices, like stay my ass in the house and do all this other stuff. These people do not know when to stop because there's something wrong with them. Okay, something wrong with a person who does that sort of stuff. It's abuse. Okay, so um, yeah, I think narcissism should be talked about in school. There should be education on narcissistic people. Don't think that this is just narcissistic people are just a small minority of people. Okay, narcissism is huge. Okay, there's a lot of narcissistic people, a lot of selfish people in your families. Okay, even in families. I really look at kids and people in general, and I think, my gosh, there is no reason to be ignorant. There's no reason to not know things. You got to protect yourself. You have to. And it's unfortunate that I realize that people can be so competitive so late in life. Like, I really never realized that people were like that. But anyway. So I have things I got to take care of today. I got to run to the grocery store. I feel today I'm just going to try to focus on my day-to-day stuff, not try to overthink things too much. But I'm trying to get back with my life, and that's really important. I'm trying to move on from what I consider to be a very long tragedy that happened in my life, and it was extremely tragic, and it was something that I will live with for the rest of my life. Because once you deal with something like that, your life will never be the same again. You will never see things the same way again. You won't, and it's kind of impossible for you to anyway. So anyway, yeah, I mean, if there's any videos that, or topics that you want me to cover that might go a little bit more into it. I wanted to talk more about, I saw that I had a video that I started in PowerPoint. I never finished it. And I really might do that. But see, it's hard for me sometimes because it's like right now, my biggest issue is I need to get back to work. I'm looking for work right now. And I know it's hard, but I can't stop looking because I need to feel safe right now. And so all my other things kind of go on the back burner. There are days where I do feel like I can do something. I can pick up and do something. Like I might work on an art project or whatever. And there were some of my videos that I just recently finished start off as drafts. I start multiple drafts. Like I might work on an issue, a video relating to human trafficking, and then I made a fun little video that it took me a while to finish. I'm not somebody who finishes things right away, right now, because I'm going through this. My issue right now is for me to get back to work, find a job. You know what I mean? And right now, I just feel like, that's my most important issue right now. And trying to get myself stable, or whatever stable I could possibly be. That is my biggest issue right now. And it's hard because, of the bullshit and the illegal garbage that went on. And it really, really affected me a lot, But anyway, so I'm going to wrap up this video. I think I've been talking long enough, and this particular Kindle keeps giving me messages saying that, it's like running low on memory and all this other stuff. So it could cause me some problems if I try to upload this video, if I make it any longer. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be back with another video sometime later. Take care.